We're going to go up it in stages. I'm going to want everyone to go at a 2.0 at the base of it once we get there and start the KOM. And then once we get about halfway up, and I'll tell us when, we're going to lift it to 2.5. I don't want any big gear changes, maybe stepping it up 1, or just picking up your RPM. So a lot of times if you pick up your cadence, you'll be able to meet that goal of just lifting the power a little bit together, because as we go through this, you'll see more and more what I mean by that steady state. And if you can keep it even, it's an easier climb than if you're just accelerate, slow down, accelerate, pop, fall off the back, brace over, 2 laps to go. 2.0 here. Steady climbing now. Keep it nice, easy, 2.0. Let's not try to blow it up. Up to 2.5. All right, good evening. Welcome to SkillZ and DrillZ. 2.5. So the idea on this, like I said, keep the RPMs a little higher. Practice a fluid, steady, consistent stroke. What you want to avoid is that where you're doing left and right bobs, like you're ducking punches. You just want to spin those legs. And when I can maintain a little higher RPM, with just a small surge, I can go from a 2.3 to a 3.7, no problem. All right, up to 3.0 now. All right, bring it up to 3.0. Again, you might be able to accomplish this just by picking up your cadence. And on the downhills, you're going to be carrying that speed with you, which is why I put it up and down. Because it's not such a steep downhill that you're going to spin out. So you carry it, speed up, and then you push it back on the way down. And you maintain that constant effort. You don't burn any matches, just messing around. Works wonders. On lap 2 on our KOM attempt, we're going to practice coming out of the saddle. So I'm going to want you to go to a higher gear with lower cadence. So I want you to be somewhere around that 75 to 80. When I tell you to come out of the saddle, you're going to shift up 2 clicks and come out of the saddle. Trying to keep the effort only a little bit harder. So we're going to go from a 2.5 to a 3-ish zone on the first section, and then we'll ramp it up as we go a little bit. Okay, and the reason I'm doing that is because when you're out of the saddle, you automatically will generate more power just because your body weight is going into the pedals. So that's why we're accounting for that, like the 2.5 to a 3 jump. But I don't want the attack yet. We'll do that later on in the climb. Seated, 2.5, 75 RPMs. All right, 2 shifts. Come out of the saddle. You'll notice that your watts go up right away. Bring it right back down to 3. All right, shift up 2, and let's come out of the saddle, 3.5. This would not be an ideal time to do it in the race, because we're on a downhill, but right into here it's good, as we're climbing. Remember, use your weight on those pedals. You can bounce a little bit up and down. You really want to keep your hips as steady as possible, and you don't want to be, if you're watching the video, jumping like you do in spin class. You want that butt to hover just above the saddle. So remember, out of the saddle, 2.5 until I say go. When I say go, you accelerate and then settle back at 3.5. All All right, so Chris, you've been in these classes before. When is the appropriate time to launch your attack?
When it's hard for everybody.
That's right. When does it get hard for everybody?
Just around the corner when it pitches up.
Well, remember there's a flat section there, so we're going to do on this first pitch and rest on the flat. Go. Accelerate. And then bring it down to a 3.5. You need to attack. 0 to 2%, you're at 2.5. Going downhill, you're at 1.0. You can come out of the saddle or you can sit. Doesn't matter. I just want you to work those hills. Going downhill, you're at 1.0. Attack them. All right, we are over 2%, so you should be hitting it. All right, 2 point. If you're near me, you should be 1.0 in it. This is not designed for any technique or tactic I want you to do in a race. This is just simply teaching your body to work changes of pace in the hills. Some of you guys are pedaling on the downhills hard. There we go. Coming out of the saddle to make my attack. Back down. We talked about climbing. We had a couple key points. What was the first thing we worked on?
Steady climb.
Steady climbing. Why is it important to be steady?
Surges make you weak.
Yeah, we just
You
saw
don't
that,
burn your
right?
matches.
We just saw that, right? That took a lot out of us doing those surges. Yeah, being steady, you can work together as a group, and as a group you can go faster and save that energy for later. Secondly, we hit on the sitting and standing. Key things to take away from that is you can accelerate faster in the standing, which we didn't really cover a ton, and you can use your body weight to put power into the pedals that maybe you're not necessarily expending through your glutes and quads as if you're seated. Flip side is your heart rate goes up, you can't do it as long, so weigh that out. If you sit and mash, it's a lot harder on your legs than if you spin up it. So, again, some people's bodies work different, but use that in your calculation. And then lastly, as we talk about attacking and redlining, you want to make sure that when you're going to go, it's a concentrated burst, it's a go, and you want to go up to that red line, and don't go over it unless you have to. If you have to, that means you're going for the win. That's when you go past that red line. But you want to push up to it. You want to play to the edge, as some people say. You know, play to that limit, and then come back, recover, and go out again. It's really, really important. It really is. Because if you go over the red line too many times, or if you go too far over at once, there's no coming back. You're just... Alright, welcome to SkillZ and DrillZ, everybody. This is one of our bridging editions. We're going to be going over a couple different things. What we're focusing on our bridging today, which is a little different than what we've done before, is the natural split that occurs on courses. Before, we've talked about bridging when we have attacks that launch people into a break or attacks that split the field. What we're going to be covering today are those natural gaps that occur. And what I mean by a natural gap is a split that happens usually due to rolling terrain. On the regular road, it's often due to winds or turns. So a lot of times you'll barrel into a sharp turn and come out of it flying and sprinting, and that creates a natural gap due to the accordion effect somewhere in the middle of the pack. Today we're going to talk about how we cross that. We're going to look at a couple different ways. The individual effort, meaning you just bridge from group to group. And the second part is working together to bridge it. So the idea is we're going to be looking at gaps that happen when we're not being attacked or exploited. The second time we do this, the second iteration of this drill, so that's a two-part A and B of part one, and then part two is we're going to be exploiting the gap, focusing on that front group that made the split. So once that split is recognized, how do you take advantage of it and try and keep the group split apart. So that's what we're going to cover today. Like normal, we'll start off with our 10 minutes of warm-up with a 1.5 max at the front, meaning that we do not want to go 2.0, we don't want to go 1.8, we want to go max at 1.5. The idea is not to drop anybody if possible. We want to keep the group together so we can get the biggest benefit out of this. We want everybody to learn. If you can roll at 4.0, you probably don't need to be in this class. You can just listen in and clip it. So we are going to really try and focus on that. In that first 10 minutes, I want you to move back and forth within the group. Practice moving around in the group to feel what does it take to get from the front to the back and what happens when you're at the back, vice at the front. So let's not run off the front, let's try and move through the group. Alright. So we got a few more minutes, we got 7.5 minutes before we start. I'm going to type out a few of the instructions about what we're doing, and if you need to pop out, hit the head, grab some water, do what you need to do, this is a great time to do it. Or if you have questions about what we're doing, feel free to jump in. If you're listening on Discord, feel free to chime in. If you're watching the live stream, feel free to type your questions and I'll answer them as soon as I see them. Alright, just under 7 more minutes. Okay, we got a few more people looking to join our Discord channel. That makes things a lot easier. Thanks for the likes there, Brandy and Chris. Thanks for the like, John. Appreciate it. Sorry for being a little quiet. I'm trying to type out what we're doing to the group, and then once we get going, you'll definitely get a lot more vocal interaction from me, vice as much typing. I'll still have to type things out for everybody, but the verbal commentary is much more in depth. 5 more minutes, folks. 5 more minutes till we start the class.
Hey guys, how we doing?
Good, how you doing?
Good. Hey, just wondering what the pace is going to be like on this. My legs are a little fried.
Yeah, so we'll be riding the vast majority of it between 1.5 and 2. There'll be small efforts where we're going to lift the pace up to about a 2.5 to a 3, but the max is going to be 3. And those will be for very short periods of time.
Great, sounds good.
So everything we do as we do it, just so you're tracking, Patrick, is that I cap the top end. So when we do attacks, they're quote unquote attacks. You know, they're maxed out at a 2.5 or maxed out at a 3. So the idea is not to create huge gaps that blow people up.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, man.
Yep. All right, about 3.5 minutes to go, folks. Alright folks, so we're going to have again a 1.5 max if you're on the front. This is not a race. If you're looking to race, I would just suggest going somewhere else. If you fly off the front at 5.0 or 4.0, we're not going to chase you. I will mock you, and I will probably harass you a little bit. That's just going to come with the territory. You'll get it both verbally and typed out, so everyone in the world will see that you were not following instructions and you were attacking a field of people who aren't racing. You're the king of recovery rides. So again, let's make sure as you're moving around for this 10 minutes of our warm-up that you're focused on moving around in the group. Don't just stay in one spot. You do want to try and stay somewhere near the beacon. That will mean you're with me on the ride, but you don't want to stay right next to me. Move to the front, move to the back. Feel how much effort it takes to go from the back to the front, and then feel at the front how steady it is, and feel at the back the little accordion effect as people are picking up the pace and slowing it down. Even small changes from 1.5 to 1.3 at the front, or 1.3 to 1.6, are going to have much bigger result or much bigger effects in the back. Alright, so do we have anyone on Discord for the first time tonight?
Yeah.
Alright, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Feel free to pipe in with any questions, or if something I say isn't clear. I tend to speak very rapidly, and sometimes I use cycling jargon, so if you're not used to it, just shout out and I will explain it a different way. Or I will just slow down how fast I'm talking. Alright, under a minute left. About 10 seconds. So for those of you on the stream, thanks a lot for watching the event. All right, 1.5 to start, folks. Let's try not to crush the pace. This is a ride where we don't want to drop people unless we have to. So this is, and you notice we get to wear our cool Castelli jerseys as we're riding around today. Castelli does sponsor this ride, and what they do is one lucky participant, unfortunately only US based, will receive some swag at the end. At the end of the month, there's a drawing, so one lucky finisher on SkillZ and DrillZ will get picked out. Now we've had one two-time winner, actually. Just luck. So if you're US based and you complete the ride, your name is entered into a drawing for some Castelli swag. It could be socks, it could be a hat, little small bag. Alright, so we got some folks up at the front who don't follow directions really well. Alright, so P. Terry and Maurice, I need you guys to slow up a little bit. Alright, my group that's with me, it's good. We're looking very nice. Brent, thanks for joining in again. Hope life's going well for you this week. So just so everyone is aware, there will not be a Skills and Drills next week. I'll be out of town. Actually, I'll be flying back, so I won't make it home in time. But we'll pick it up the following week, so no worries there, the 17th. Alright. So BRODZ, need you to ease up. S. Taylor, you're not following directions either. All right. All right, let's see how we're grouped up here. All right, we are spread out a little bit. We are going to be going towards the volcano on the crit course, so it should be easy. Poor Brent had a rough week. He broke his derailleur. That's why we don't ride outside, Brent. All right, so we're going to try and group back up here. Very nice. Now we're starting to bunch up a little bit. I like that. So again, I want everyone to try and move forward, move back. If you can, that way you can feel what happens when you're moving around the bunch. And really, that's something important in real life racing, or real life group riding, and in Zwift. Now, it's a different feeling because when you're in the real life riding, interrupted, hopefully it comes back in a second. In Zwift, it's much harder to tell. So you have to really be paying attention to what your avatar is doing, because if you don't, your avatar is going to move all around and you're not really going to feel much difference. You might go off the front, which you don't necessarily want unless you're actually trying to attack. So really pay attention to what's going on. This is your opportunity for the next 5 and change to see how it changes as you move back up to the front and you ease off and let yourself slide back to the back. So there you go, you can take a look at that nice Castelli kit. I do not know the code. I've been asked what the code is to get that kit in the game. No idea, but I'm sure you could look at Castelli's website and buy the real life one. But I have no idea how to get that kit in real life. Or excuse me, on the game. That's a permanent kit. Looks pretty sharp though. Well, the good thing is we actually already have our natural split. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about what we're doing today in our bridging. So the idea we've had on bridging before was there was an attack, a group got away, and how did we get to that group, that next group, so we could stay with the leaders if we missed that attack? Well, more often than not, in many races, you're going to go over terrain, you're going to have crosswinds, you're going to go through a 90-degree turn, or a really technical turn. So you may get a natural split because as the front group barrels into that turn or hits those up and down rollers, that accordion effect on the back is going to split somewhere in the middle of that group. Might be, the front of the back third, might be the front of the second third. But there is going to be a split. And if you're not very careful and that doesn't get shut down right away, then that gap's just going to grow. And what we want to really work on is when we notice that, how do we close that gap down? We don't want to just hammer it and burn a match, because if it's early in the race, well, that's not going to help us a whole lot. If it's later in the race, yeah, we may want to do that. But oftentimes these are going to happen somewhere in the middle of the race, somewhere in that middle third. Okay, where the action's not crazy hot, but it's going enough that you just don't want to let things go. So what are we going to do? Well, first we have to identify that there is a split. For our purposes, that's going to be very easy because I'm going to force a split. I'm going to slow a group down and let a group go faster. Kind of like what we have right now, so we actually have a natural split. The second thing is, how do we respond to that split? There's two ways you can do it. You can work together in your group, and then you can, or you can work individually and just bridge it. Yeah, Brent, I'm actually racing Sunday, so that's why I'm going to be gone for next week. Fly out tomorrow, race Sunday, fly back Wednesday. So what we're going to focus on today is the first thing on the bridging is we're going to bridge individually. Again, looking at what we have the beauty of already having a natural split, because going up that climb on the way out towards the volcano, we got split. We have guys who are 20 seconds up the road. So for those of you who are in the front group, if we could slow it down to a 1.1, thanks Brent, if we can slow it down to a 1.1, we're going to be able to bridge up to that, and then we'll all be back together and we'll be able to split it back off. So let me type out to them what I want them to do, and then we'll get going here and cross that gap in 2 minutes. To move back up to the front of this group so I can see who all's in that group. All right, so if you're with me, we're going to be group 2. At the 10-minute mark, we're going to chase. And then what I want you to do is when we chase, I want you to hold a 2.5 to a 3 to chase. All right, 2.5 to a 3. I want this very steady. This should not be a surge. This should be accelerate to 2.5. And or 3, somewhere in there, and hold it. We're going to work together as a group. I want the group to stay together. We're not going to do individually yet because we got a 20-second gap to bridge. So we're just going to reverse the order. So if you're at the back with me, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up a little bit, try and drag everyone back up to the front. Thanks to the ride on, Dennis. All right, so what we're already seeing is we are creating our own little split, but that's okay. We're not too far back. We can pull that together. Easy, Gautier. All right, good. All right, so that's what I like to see. We're starting to see some rotation through. Sims, what's your first name so I don't have to just call you L? Remember, you got to push the button to speak. So, okay, Sims.
Lynette.
Lynette, okay, great. So you're doing good, Lynette. Just stay right in there. I like that short pull at the front. So Paul, good job. Take your turn, pull off the front, let other people work for you. You don't have to be the only one working. Let's try and keep our little group tight. We got a 7-second gap to Savage. Very nice, good job. It's a very good tight group. Good, Lynette. Let's let some other people work. All right, Grego, your group, I believe, is actually at the front now. So you guys could ease off. That'd be great. Very nice. So good job, Frank. Lynette, I'll come back to you. We are closing down that bridge. So one of the things you got to look at when you're trying to work on these bridging techniques is trying to maintain some stability and some consistency. If you do a lot of accelerations, you can burn your legs off pretty quick. Because you got to remember, as soon as you get back on, you got to recover quickly and try to get ready for the next attack. So we are coming up on that next group. We have 12 seconds to pull back. This is just a very simple task. All we do is work together. We share the load. You spend some time at 3. You drop back into the group at 2.5. Take your turn at the front. Chase them down. Boom, there you go. So, we've got a few people up there who are hammering the pace still at the front. But we're going to pull them back. Most everybody is playing by the rules right now. So that's definitely beneficial. And we're picking up Dino and Winchell and Vins and Tateyama. Good, a little bigger group. So one of the other great things about if you do this as a group, and Zwift has the draft setting set fairly accurate compared to real life, the bigger the group, the faster you can go, the easier as well. What I mean is your draft pack, the bigger it gets, has more power to it. You have much better aerodynamic capabilities, and you just plow through the wind. And so you can, as a big group, pushing 2.5 to 3, oftentimes go faster than a solo rider pushing 3.5 to 4. I found that out by accident one time, trying to chase onto a slower group that just shelled me. Good, now ease it into the group. Try not to fly past the front. So you make the bridge. Next step is not becoming the pacemaker at the front. That next step, you want to be able to sit back, get in, let the legs recover, and then we're good at that point. Then we can resume whatever we need to do. All right, so if you were group 1 on this last iteration, I need you to slide to the back. All right, so we got someone got off the front again, hammering it, so we're gonna just pull them back and get grouped together. All right, so just ride with me at 2.5. Let's see, Brad Bottom's asking, how much do you increase your pace to chase if you're already at 3 watts a kilogram in a race? So, it's a good question, Brad. A lot of it's going to depend on what they're doing and what you can do. If your FTP is near that 3.0, then you got to take a gauge on the gap, and you got to take a gauge on how far left you have to race. Fortunately, on Zwift, you can see what everybody else is doing. So if they're doing 3.0, you're at 3.0, your FTP is 3.0, if that gap is more than 10 or 15 seconds, you're going to have to really sort out whether you think you can chase, whether they're going to be able to hold that. If they're going at a pace that's below 3.0, if it's something you can manage, then you're going to want to lift it enough that you can hold it long enough to make the bridge, but it's not going to crush you. So if it's a 30 or 40 second bridge, maybe you can push to a 3.5. If they're doing 2.5, pull that back quickly. But if they're doing 2.8, meaning to go more. If they're doing 2.2, maybe you can just roll at 3.0. If it's a long gap, you're probably going to have to go a little bit easier, but hold it harder, hold it longer. So maybe you have to hold 3.0 or 3.1, but you just do that for 10, 15 minutes. You know, and if that's your FTP is right at that 3, that's where you need to make that judge. So I can't give you a hard number because it's all race dependent. All right, we're more or less grouped together at the front. All right, so Frank, hold that 1.5. All right, once we get back together, we're going to just let the legs recover for a second. So remember, when you reach the group, you're welcome, Brad. When you reach the group, you don't want to fly by it. As you see us coming up, as you see yourself coming up to it, you see it 2 seconds, 1 second, start easing off. You'll see the thing on Zwift screen that says closing the gap. Once you see that, you need to back off a little bit into your 1.5 area. All right, now group 1, go to the back. Oh, we just had an attack there, I guess. I'm not sure what happened. Somehow I got shot off the back. I'm gonna close that down. All right, so you notice right there, as I closed in, I eased off, I'm sliding into the back. That's exactly what you want to do. All right, so if you're group 1, go to the back and hold 1.0. If you're group 2, hold 2.0. We're creating our split. I am going to slide to the back to help out. Good job, Henderson. All right, so remember, group 1, I need you to ease up. We're trying to create a split here. The whole goal is to practice a split that's not created by an attack. That little climb is a perfect example of what happens just through natural terrain. So you can see we've already created a small split. We got 7 seconds up to Paul, Shaq, and Beans. I know it's hard to get on the downhills. You got 1.0. Okay, group 2, or group 1, excuse me, we're going to chase at 2.5 to 3 as a group. Group 2, hold your 2.0. So we're going to do this together. We do not want to hammer the pace. Let's see. Not sure where you are, Troy. All right, great. So let's get our chase going. Again, 2.5 to 3.0. All we're gonna do is work together groups. So right now I got Xian Shu doing most of the work. We have a small group ahead of us. That's S. Taylor, that's Lynette. Once we catch you guys, jump on us. All right, so it looks like we got a good sized group going. We are chasing down the lead group at we're rolling a 2.5 to a 3. All right, good. I like the little group bunching up we have here. All right, let's keep it going, small group. Got to keep it tight. So it's important when you're working these small groups like this, you don't let any gaps go. You don't want any gaps of 1 to 2 seconds. From the leader to the back, you want a max of a second, maybe 1.5. The reason being, again, bigger and more bunched up your group is on Zwift, the better. So we got a nice group, but if you notice there's a split, even in our group, just because we've been going over this little bit of terrain. We want to make sure we close that gap. All right, looks like we've got a very good chase pack going. Look at that, we tighten it up. That's what I like to see. Let's go back to my avatar's eyes. All right, good. So Lynette, good job. Don't hammer the pace too much. Try not to shoot anyone out the back. I know it's a slight uphill. That's going to create some mild surges, but good. Paul, I need you guys to close it up a little bit. You're about 2 seconds off the back. All right, good. As we approach this group, let's try not to shoot past them. We've got 2 more up the road that we're bringing back for Troy and Henderson. I think they might have a couple with them, yeah. All right, leaders, I need you to drop to a 1.5, please. We can chase you down at 2.5 to 3 when you're doing 2, but it's going to take a lot longer and we're going to miss other parts of the class. So we want to make sure we can get everything in. All right, good. So what you're seeing again, we have lots of little bit of terrain here. Lots of just small little rises. No worries, Henderson. These small little rises can throw us completely off. As you can just take a look right there, we're able to pull people back as they slow down. But it's creating splits within our own group. So if we go back up to the top, on this view, again, you can see without really much work, our group is getting separated. We've got 2 seconds back now, the people who just passed, because people in our group, the front, hammered to the front and didn't chase and then sit on. Which, let me move to the front, see who we have up there. All right. All right, 1.5 together now. We're more or less together at the front. What I want to see is hold this 1.5, then we're going to do another split, then we're going to bridge individually. And so what we've actually got is a split up front already. We have a few riders who are about 8 to 10 seconds. Let's try not to make any more splits right now.
Come on, Murray. You say 1.5, you're a 3.0. Backward, under, soft left.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to go up to the front to see how far people are up front. That's the hard part on this. I can't If I move to the back, I can't see how far our gap is. All right, good job. All right, so on the individual bridge that we're going to do now, when we're not working together as a group, we're going to have group 1 go up the road a little bit, only a few seconds, and group 2 is going to individually bridge across. You need to adjust your firepower based on what you need to cross. So right now you can see we have Sugapong's up there 2 seconds. We're going to use him most likely as a good carrot, and then we'll individually bridge. All right, group 2, let's go to the back at 1.0. Group 1, hold steady at 2.0. Group 2, come back to me. All right, I got more eyes with me, which is good. Henderson looks like he's having some more trainer problems. All right, I want you to go to max of 3.5, which we go individually. You're not working with anyone else. You're not taking turns. You're just going to bridge that group up to the front, up at the front. All right, group 2, go. All right, again, 3.5. Brent, my FTP is, my best guess right now is about a 250 to 260. But I only weigh 60 kilos, so that's pretty, yeah, it gives me a decent 4.2-ish. All right, let's go to P. Terry. Pull it across. We have 24 seconds. So Brad Baldwin, you can see right now what I'm doing is I got to bridge 25 seconds to the leaders. I know I can hold 3.5 for a while, so I'm going to go ahead and hold that because the leaders are doing 2.0. Brent, that's okay. Weighing 20 kilos more. My FTP fluctuates depending on what I'm training for. The race I'm training for is just a longer, obviously individual ride, so I was focused much more on endurance. Larry, so I'm capping at 3.5 because we're not racing, so I don't want people to blow other people up, and then they miss out on the class. So I'm also, this is more geared to people who may not have an FTP that's even at 3.5. So I don't want them at 100 TSS at the end of this. I want them to be able to learn. All right. Good job, Frank. Good job, Dino. Savage looking good. All right, we're about 15 seconds back from the leaders. All right, leaders, I need you up to 1.5. I want to let everyone catch back on. What's that?
Never mind, I was talking to my dog.
Sorry, I just realized that you were talking to somebody when I looked at the clock.
She thinks it's time to eat.
She needs to understand, SkillZ and DrillZ is going on. All right, good. I got a few people on me. I'm gonna keep closing this down. Alright, so as you can see, Larry, this is weekly skills ride. So we do this every Wednesday. Next Wednesday I'll be gone, so we won't have next Wednesday, but we will after that. So the 17th. Brent, yeah, J-Flow has me beat, but J-Flow also weighs a lot more. And J-Flow is just a cyclist. I gotta add in running and swimming too. J-Flow knows, though, on many occasions I've taken him out on the climbs. He can beat me on the sprints, though. We're pretty even on a TT. He doesn't like how I climb. Basically, I just go until it's ready to blow up. Yeah, the problem with Zwift running though, Brent, is that my stride pod doesn't accurately reflect my speed for some reason. When I go out on the road using GPS, it's a lot faster. But it's alright, it's close enough. Alright, 6 seconds. Yeah, big vacuum, Dino. That's the point of the draft. Frank's coming. Yeah, when I'm on the treadmill, I can't go more than number 11 or speed 11 miles an hour. So it's like a 5:20 or 5:30 because it bounces too much. So I have to, I can do that like outside today. I did 8-minute periods of at 5:40s, but it's treadmill, that's not usually my point. All right, Frank's with us. Okay, recover at 1.2 for a minute, and then last drill. Alright, so if you were in group 1, I need you to slide to the back. Who's in front? I gotta see who I'm sending everybody to. 1 second. All right, group 1, hold 1.5. Group 2, 2.5 to 3 until you reach Ludwig, and then you're gonna go down to a 2. And then I'll knock you down to a 1.5. All right, group 1, I need you guys to ease up. I'm making my way to the back. Somehow our groups that have to chase seem to be very small every time. I'm not sure how that works. All right, if you were at the very front when we started, or at the very front in this last one, you need to come back with me. So we should have Griego and a couple others who are up at the front because they were back here with me last time. All right, good. That's Paul, good. Gautier, Frank, great. As soon as I catch on to you guys, you can launch. All right, group 2, ease the 2.0. So if you're at the front now, ease the 2.0. Lynette, good. Let's try and pick it up a little, Lynette. If we're going to chase, I need you to chase that 2.5 to 3 if you can. If not, you can sit with me and I'll pull you along and we'll put you where you can within your limits. All right, Paul, Lynette, you guys got to go. BR. All right, I'm trying to tail gun here, bring everybody back together. said someone shoot out the back there. All right. Want to saddle stretch a little bit. All right, Grego, I need you guys 2.0 at the front. Good job, Lynette. That's nice work right there. All right, good. Remember, once you catch on to the lead group, don't overshoot them. All right, good. We got BR with us. Good job. We are closing in from the back on a few folks. If we catch you, go ahead and jump on. Come on, guys, at the front. Got some folks doing 6. All right, so Lynette, what I'm going to ask of you is sit on my wheel. I'm going to slowly lift the pace. I want you to let me know when it's too much. And we're going to try and bring some folks back and make our group big. There you go. Pegged right to it. And now it's starting to rain. Good thing we're finishing up here. All right, Pete Terry's coming back on. We're almost on Savage's group. Good, Terry. All right, folks, we're gonna make this bridge together again. We've seen how difficult it is to do this individually, and we seem to be coming back together, which is a natural progression, so don't think that's a bad thing. You know, you're generally going to want to ride together when you can, because it's a much better situation for you as far as preserving your energy in your legs, so not a big deal. All right, front group, you guys got to go to a 1.2. As soon as we close the gap, we'll do a little recap.
This is Paul. I think I'm in about the middle of the front group now.
Okay. Yeah, you're 7 seconds ahead of us. I got you. Just stay in there at that 1.2. All right, good job. All right, looks like we have 3 seconds. Oh, we're on the We're on the front, guys. Good job. All right, great job, everyone. Looks like everyone is more or less bunched up. A little spread out there, but we'll bring it back together. All right, I'm easing myself off now too, though, since I'm at the front. You can hear I just shifted down. All right, so today, let me take this out real quick, and then I'll give you guys a recap. Alright, so I'll do a quick recap. If you want to see the video of this, it's on Zwift Live by ODZ on Facebook, or you can go to zwiftblog.com, it'll be up there, and I'll try and post a link up from where I put it on my blog on Zwift Riders. So today we focus on bridging. Bridging's a skill that's really vital, and it's much more of a math-based skill, to be honest with you. We talked before many times about bridging due to attacks. Well, today we just saw the natural splits happen all the time. Just that little climb we did was a natural split. Coming out of the starting blocks, hitting the small little climb towards the S's before we made the right turn. Natural split. So when those happen, you have to be acutely aware of it. If you're following other instructions we've given on SkillZ and DrillZ, you're already at the front, so you're in the break, so it doesn't really matter. If somehow you find yourself out of position, though, you need to recognize that there's a gap right away, figure out if someone's willing to work with you, and figure out how hard you have to get across that gap in the shortest amount of time possible, but not so fast that you blow your legs up. Because when you when you blow your legs out, you need to be able to, you're not able to respond, because oftentimes the technique is the gap is created, people bridge across, the people who are in the front recognize that a gap was created, and then hit the gas once you make it back onto the back of the group. And if you went too hard for too long, you may not be able to respond. If you can't respond, then you just wasted your energy bridging that gap. So this is a very calculated move. What you just saw, how we did it today, was we bridged two different ways, with a group or individually. With the group, it's a lot easier because you're just working the pace line. On the roads, it's very simple. You pull through, you pull off, drift to the back, rinse, repeat. On Zwift, it's a little more challenging though, because you don't have that same ability, because in Zwift, I can just ride through the riders in front of me. So, it makes it a little more difficult to hold that. However, we can work that same situation of go to the front, drift back to the middle, go to the front, drift back to the middle. If you need to go to the back, you go to the back. When you try to bridge individually though, all the work is you. And that's a much more challenging proposition to undertake. Because if you have to go from a much longer distance, or the front group speeds up a little bit, it can completely throw out what you did, and you're not going to get any rest. So by the time you get back on, it may be too late. You may be just blown up. So those are the big things you need to consider. I can't tell you bridge at certain effort, or bridge at certain heart rate, or bridge at certain wattage, because everything is dependent on the tactics. Yeah, Dino, they do need a ride on all button. That's why it's really important you're maintaining a good position in the bunch. Generally, at the very front, third is the best place to be. So, do you guys have any questions about bridging or any specifics you want to ask? I'm fairly well known for my bridging, usually because of my Failure to pay attention early in a race.
Thanks, Ian.
Hey, no worries, Paul. Hope to see you in 2 weeks. Again, no skills and drills next week, but I will be back in 2 weeks. So make sure you finish out the 60 minutes so you qualify for the drawing for some Castelli swag. All right, 1 minute. Let's make sure everyone's spinning out their legs. Alrighty. So we have some other rides coming up this week. If you're interested, we've got the Castelli Thursday Night Throwdown tomorrow in the 2 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, I should say. We've got Friday, the In the Feed Zone with Jason Flores. It's a great little ride. He gives through a lot of nutrition details. That's on at 5:15 Pacific AM. Then Saturday we have the Saturday Showdown. Then every other Saturday is the ODivas race. It's a ladies race. And Sunday you have your choice of the OD's entry or the Pretzels and Pancakes ride. So feel free to join anytime you want with that. There's bunches of rides on there. If you go to teamodz.com or if you go to Facebook Live by ODZ on Facebook, you can see all the rides. Teamodz.com has a description of what they all are. If you have any questions, reach out to us on Facebook, and we'll get back to you and hopefully answer anything you have. I also highly recommend the What's Up with Power ride on Wednesday. You can catch the videos on Facebook Live at the Zwift Live by ODZ as well. And that's got a lot of good information from a lot of different people, coaches, riders, you name it, they're on there talking about how you can apply riding with power to your events or to your training. So that's going to be it for me, folks. Thanks a lot for joining in on the ride, and thanks a lot for joining in on the stream. Have a great week.